photo process, providing you with the best, most realistic photos of your property. See the difference at rockinmedia.com. Hi, and welcome to the Pro Show. I'm Rick Machle. Today we're talking about Grand County, and if you're not familiar with Grand County, it's one of the closest resort areas to Denver. So historically, it's been one of the playgrounds dating back 100 years. It's a great place to visit and a great place to live. We're going to be talking with one of the real estate professionals who knows that area really well. We'll also be talking to Nancy about assumptions of mortgages, and Greg's talking rentals. That's all next on the Pro Show. Today we have Rebecca Fine with us from Coldwell Banker Denver Central, and as you heard me say in the intro, we're talking all about Grand County, but Rebecca also does a ton of work up in Grand County, so she's kind of dual agent. But before we get into that, first of all, hi Rebecca.
Hi Rick, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So tell me, we're going to go into your background a little bit, because I know almost everybody in this real estate career wasn't always doing real estate, but you've been doing it quite a while. So let's back up. Where are you from?
I grew up in Southern California. I'm an original Valley girl.
Oh, you are. So you like talk like this, right? Well, that's like awesome.
Like totally, right?
and so what did you do after high school?
Now I went to college, and then I was going to Pepperdine University, and then transferred out here with my family. And I was actually going to be a psychotherapist, life coach with a guy named David Viscott, who used to be like the guy. Maybe you remember him. You're probably
yeah.
Anyway, so then moved here to Colorado about 30 years ago with my family and raised the kids. We were coming just for a couple of years, ended up staying like so many of us do. I call myself a transplant native.
Yeah,
because I have issues with the new transplants every so often, unless my clients. Just kidding. So anyway, we moved to Cherry Creek School District, bought a house, knowing that Piney Creek was a great area.
Brand new then.
Yes, view, everything. Made some good investments, and then my neighbors owned a brokerage firm. And just got me on one good day where they said, you have got to get your license. And so that day I said, okay. So I was really blessed to be able to raise my children. They're grown-ups now, and be selling real estate almost 30 years. Something that we did immediately was buy the house in Piney Creek and buy a house in the mountains. And that's how I ended up being, in Grand Lake. Grand County's gorgeous, as you know, so much to do. But here I am. So I'm in Metro Denver, here in Governor's Park, high above the clouds over here on the 9th floor, and just really have loved selling real estate. It's so much fun, Rick, to meet people, to fight for them, to get to know their families, and to be part of that life cycle and watch people's dreams come true, because they do. It all works out, and it's wonderful to be there on closing day, and everyone's smiling, and kids are going off to college, all that. So it's a great career.
Well, that's exciting. So I think I heard you say at one time you're also selling real estate in California. Is that right?
I own some properties in California.
Okay.
And so currently what I do with my own properties is refer them to great Coldwell Banker agents that we have there. Just, because it's easier. And that's something that we have that's great with Coldwell Banker's relocation program. So I can connect with agents anywhere, and I can work alongside them for my clients that are working out of state. But yes, I'm actually working on my California license as well. I have a team, and I have to say that Coldwell Banker is so supportive of it. So I have a team that works in Denver and in Grand County. So I mean, really, with our careers in Coldwell Banker, the sky's the limit. So I can't say enough about them. And Rick, about you, and how much you've been part of my career for years and years. And that's why I will never use another photographer.
Oh,
It's
that's
amazing.
nice. I didn't even
The
pay
work
her.
you do, your creativity, it's beautiful. People love the photos and they love to keep them as well, like as a keepsake. So
Awesome.
I don't know.
Well, that's great. Well, it's great to have you on. And we're now going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market up there in Grand County. So we'll go through that and then we'll get your impression of that next. We're going to look at Grand County's numbers for the month of December. We haven't quite gotten January's numbers yet, but I want to take a look and give you an idea what single family homes look like in Grand County. And the number of listings in Grand County is down a little bit. There are only 172 listings in the MLS. And this is Grand County MLS that gave us these numbers. And that's the number of active listings. It means that they have an absorption rate of a little over 6 months, so it's a pretty balanced market. The active median list price is $1.4 million. The new median list price is $1.199 million, and the sold median list price is $985,000. The sold to list ratio is about 91%. So there's been a little bit of people coming down off their list price, and the average days on market is 125. Now I want to compare a couple of these numbers to December of 2023. As we said, the average list price in December of 24 was a little over $1.8 million. And in December of 2023, it was $1,340,000. That's a 35% increase. The median list price is currently at $1.4 million. And that's up 27.33% over 2023. The average sales price is up 40% year over year. In December of 2023, it was only $736,000. And the median sale price is up 55% from $635,000 to $985,000. The average days on market is down 24% year over year. It was 165 days in December of 23, and in December of 24 is 125 days. And even the median days on market are down nearly 14.5%. From 138 days in December of 23 to 118 days in December of 24. So, Rebecca, it looks like in Grand County, at least last year, what we were seeing was that the number of listings goes up steadily during the summer, whereas along the Front Range, they tend to go up in May, June, and kind of into July. But it looks like in Grand County, you get the whole summer where people keep adding listings. Do you find that to be the case typically?
Ever since COVID, I will say that it's been really up in the air year to year. So we've had, during those years, we've had, as you know, many people purchasing second homes or actually moving to the mountains because they can work from home now. And so they can, work during the morning and go skiing in the afternoon. So we've had that big, huge, sway of folks going to the mountain. And then the last few years, it's calmed down a little bit, and every year is different. So last year we had a ton of business over the holidays. So people were out shopping, having fun, decided they want to buy a house there. Year before, dead as a doornail. Everybody was out having fun and nobody was out looking for a house. So it's been interesting, and there have been some sadly troublesome fire hit. So that we thought would greatly impact the market, but it didn't. And it's such a good investment, whether you want a second home in an area that you can do pretty much whatever you'd like outside and year-round activities, or as an investment. Short-term rentals are still in demand. Things have slowed down a little bit, but say, for example, the really strong resort areas, Winter Park, Grand Lake is a shortage of housing.
Okay.
So you can get a really nice second home investment property still.
That's great. And as we look here too, it looks like the days on market, at least last year, also went way down in August, which means I guess some things were selling, correct?
Absolutely. Last year, we had the market in December really picking up.
Uh-huh.
And then everyone has a perception, which it's true that spring is the time, right? So the snow melts and everything. But really, what I've been experiencing, especially these last few months, I tell my clients, get it on the market. It's a very low inventory, and we have the best chance to get, if you're selling, to get the highest price. And then there's such a low inventory, but the pricing is kind of stable right now too. So the buyers feel really comfortable about jumping in right now. Last year, so it really picked up in December. People were shopping around the holidays. Spring wasn't crazy, but there was a jump. And then Christmas, you get people right before the 4th of July wanting to sell, and you get the folks in the summertime, and that was pretty steady. But with these leaf peepers, we're talking a little bit joking about non-natives coming to Colorado. I am joking because we're such a great state.
Yeah.
And we love more outdoor people to hang out with, but they love those beautiful fall colors, the aspen. And so we found the last couple of years, our team sold a lot of real estate. People are making decisions a little bit later. So if you look at the stats, we've got these closings in October, August, September, October, a little more. The folks holding out over the summer to kind of make a decision or see if the pricing is going to go down, which it doesn't. They jump on there and then enjoy their homes for the holidays, which is so nice.
Well, and as you know, down in the metro area, we're often, even during the peak when we had no listings, we still had 2,400, 3,000 listings, and now we're, 5,000 or 6,000 active listings. And so somebody who's not used to that situation up there, when you have less than 200 active listings, at least single family homes, there are a lot more condos. That's number of homes. If you're looking for a single family, you have less than 200. So is that a lot? Is that give you enough variety?
It's not a lot.
Okay.
We have pretty low inventory still. And I'll talk about Winter Park.
Sure.
Right now, everything that's been going, it's the season. Everyone wants to go out and snowboard and hang out and do the Christmas festival, and you're out there having fun. And so it's really the peak season, Winter Park. It's going to start slowing down, but I'm expecting, some stats for January about to come out. I know they're going to be higher because they're steadily been increasing this year so far.
Yeah.
Folks, in Winter Park, it's super active and you're getting a lot less days on the market.
Sure.
And then, as you move closer to Trail Ridge Road that's closed, things are a little bit slower. But, in Grand Lake, they're out snowmobiling and hunting and ice fishing extravaganzas and all those kind of winter things, but a little quieter over there.
One of my favorite parts about Grand County, though, is it really is a four-season area. I mean, you've got the skiing, obviously boarding, snowmobiling all over the county in the winter. You've got it's great. You got about a month of mud season in May when it gets a little hard to walk around, but then the summers are gorgeous. And as you said, the falls are amazing up there with the aspens turning. And, truth be told, I was actually part owner of the Coldwell Banker up in Winter Park. That's how I got into this crazy career. Not on the real estate side, I was on the marketing side. But we thought, the world was coming to an end when the beetle kill went through. And all it did was open up a lot of views for a lot of people. And now the trees are coming back. And then, we had the Grand Lake fire. When was that? 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Something like that?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. So it's, a lot of that's gone away and the new trees are coming up. It's amazing how quickly those things change. And so it's a great time to be up in Grand County. And the market seems to be pretty healthy if you basically have a 6-month number of listings, and it's pretty balanced at this point.
It is. And you know what I'm seeing is that some of those high end, multi-million dollar properties are creating the longer term days on market right now because we've got some, I'll call them entry level condos. Just really cute. There's even a ski in, ski out that's kind of reasonably priced, I'll say right now on the Mountain and Winter Park and, along the area. But then, and some of those are just being snapped up,
Sure.
in a few days on a weekend. It goes on the market Thursday. There's offers Saturday morning. So that's going on with these really well priced homes that are on the market. And then, the higher end, the big ranches, the Devil's Thumb Tabernash area where you like to go cross country skiing over there. They just got a new service with these cat tours you can go on, but it's a little quieter over there right now. So you can get a little more days on the market, but a better deal currently. Right. So it's kind of, how varied that whole area can be.
Well, I think that leads us into, let's start talking about decisions on what part of the county you might want to buy. One of the decisions you need to make if you're going to move to Grand County is what part of the county, and we're not going to go all the way to Kremling, but we'll do the major areas today, all the way up to Grand Lake and maybe up toward Rocky Mountain. And we're going to start, though, in Winter Park, and we're going to pull this up. I'm on Realtor.com and look at some of the current listings on there. And let's jump down to the base. So the base is mainly condos, right?
Yes. We have some ski out and just the whole area. The ski train lets you off right there too. So great access to the slopes.
That's awesome. But there's a division area called Lakota, which also has single family homes and duplexes, which is pretty amazing too. So tell me about some of those places where you can actually get at least a duplex type home.
Well, Lakota is a great subdivision, easy access, very new. There's some views right there on the mountain. Walk across, the traffic over 40 to hit the slope. So you're not ski out, but you're close enough. And it's a gorgeous newer community. So you can get in with a duplex. They both the duplexes and single family have great HOAs, snow plowing, trash removal, really gorgeous community with upkeep. So and great place to move into.
Yeah, the as you can see here, people can see, there's a 1 bedroom 1 bath for $515 at the base, and then you also have a $450 at Dreamcatcher, and that's also a 4-bed 4-bath, and that may be a multifamily. I can't believe that isn't like a quarter share. So
yes,
I bet that's a quarter share on there, because this 4.1 mil sounds a little bit more realistic for a 4-bedroom 3-bath. Would you agree?
Yes, and we've got fractional interest opportunities in Winter Park, especially. And that's great if you're not going to be up there all the time, and you can really divide some of those costs.
Exactly. Yep. So let's continue toward Winter Park. And as we get into Winter Park, what kind of properties can you find in Winter Park?
The same thing, Rick, where you've got multifamily. There's a lot of brand new condos in there, in the garages. It's like stacked parking. They've got electricity, so everyone could plug their cars in now. Anything from top of the mountain views, multi-million dollars with views of the Continental Divide on both sides, to maybe some of the smaller studio condos, 1-bedroom condos where you're kind of ski bumps crashing out, or Winter Park actually rents properties from homeowners during busy seasons. So that's another place you can get in, at a lower price point and still have a great investment, and have Winter Park actually renting the house from you to house some of the employees.
And as we continue down, obviously there's a bunch more condos and townhomes. Some are newly built and haven't even been built, because I did a project for one of the developers there just recently, and they're still under construction. Then we get into Rendezvous, tell me about Rendezvous.
I'm drawing a blank. Cut for a sec. Wait, where's Rendezvous?
Rendezvous. Okay, I'll start this one out. And as
where?
it's
Tell me really
it's in
quick.
between Winter Park and Grand Lake,
Fraser?
and Fraser. Yeah, it's technically Fraser, I think, but
Okay, I'll say that. Good. I'll say that.
So
How it's growing.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about Rendezvous. It's a development there. I know that they've got townhomes and single-family homes, right?
Yes, Rendezvous, another very desirable area, big subdivision, all the amenities. And now that whole area between Winter Park and Fraser is really connected now, neighbors. So you've got Fraser, a little quieter area, but with all the bells and whistles still. And then you don't have the tourist traffic maybe that you'll have in Winter Park, but a little quieter area. Rendezvous is a higher price point as well with some of the other subdivisions in the area, but great varied options.
When I was at Coldwell Banker, this development was just getting started. So tells you how long ago that was, like 20 years ago. And what's great about it is that it is, I was talking about the beetle kill. A lot of homes that didn't have views now have $1 million views because all the trees came down, and when they bought, they were in the forest, and now they have Continental Divide views. And we continue a little bit north, and we get into the town of Fraser.
Fraser, again, a great place for more full-time if you want a quieter lifestyle. Fraser has that great rec center. If you haven't been in there, they've got the lazy pool, and they've got these slides that you wouldn't believe. It's so much fun for kids of all ages. Rock climbing. They've got the Foundry, which is the bowling alley cinema over there. All kinds of businesses, churches, gyms, markets, several larger markets, so that you can make that more of a home if you'd like, and pricing's a little bit lower than in Winter Park proper.
All right. And then Tabernash. My joke about Tabernash is their motto should be looking forward to global warming, because for some reason they seem to be a little bit colder than the rest of the county, but I love that area. It's where we go cross-country skiing.
Tabernash it has a special place in my heart. I love that Pole Creek golf course and gorgeous homes and properties along that golf course. It's a great course if you haven't played it. Wonderful clubhouse. I'll put in a plug for the Grand County Builders Association, and I'm on the board. It's a nonprofit, and we have every fall a golf tournament there that we host, and it's at Pole Creek. And I really hadn't spent a lot of time there till I started with that nonprofit, and it's so quiet. Tabernash is gorgeous, quiet. You go across the highway. Well, you've got Snow Mountain Ranch, which is a great activities for families, for friends, lots of fun things to do. And then, of course, Devil's Thumb, that gorgeous, exclusive property where you can be sitting in a 5-star restaurant looking, out at the pasture where your cow was with the other cows a few minutes ago. I know it's on your plate, but that spa, it's just incomparable in Grand County, and
and as you can see on some of these properties, you're back far enough from the divide that you get some amazing views in Tabernash of the divide, depending on the property as well.
The cross-country skiing, Parna, that, and then those views of Indian Peaks, the other side of the divide, nice and quiet, just gorgeous. You've got the wildlife there. Beautiful, beautiful community.
And now we're into Granby as we head a little bit further north. And Granby is great because it has its own little ski area, which a lot of people don't know about. Everybody knows about Winter Park Resort, but the Granby ski area is kind of a fun area, and they've got their own golf course there. Tell me more about Granby.
Granby is that kind of stopping point, maybe an in-between point, but it has so much to offer as well that lots of folks aren't aware of, like you're saying, Rick. They've got the new city market, I'll talk a little bit about Granby Ranch because that's where I learned to ski back in the day. Um, and it's great. And the golf course is fun. There's so much to do. They have a great activity center, swimming pool. They have concerts in the summer now, and the restaurant. You can take the gondola up in the summer and ride your mountain bike down. They've had some world-class championships there. That now are kind of, Winter Park has that Trestles Bike Park. I didn't mention that, but if you love mountain biking, Grand County is, I want to say there's 300 miles of trails, of trails for mountain biking. Anyway, but
it's a great part of Grand County. It's kind of the heart of Grand County because it's right in the middle. So there's a lot of shopping there, obviously in downtown Granby as well. On the other side of the highway, you also have Grand Elk, which is a great golf course and great community with lots of different property types too, right?
Absolutely. There's so much. I lost my train of thought. There's so many great things about Granby. It's probably, that's your really great bargains, a lot of value for your dollar in Granby. There's fantastic views, and there is so much to do. You've got gyms over there, schools. There's several schools. There's a real sense of community, a lot of full-timers, and you really have a spot. Like if you want to go up to Walden or go, the back way out of town, go to Steamboat, all the, hot sulfur springs,
right?
Camping. And then you also, aren't too far away from access to I-70 there. And there we've got condos, we've got homes, brand new construction. There's a ton of activities at their rec area. They've got, year-round sports activities that are organized for adults and kids. The libraries. Granby is such a great community. It's historic, Western, a really great place for people to go when they're going to be accessing different areas. They could go hunting, they can go skiing, they can go to the hot springs, out for a nice dinner. Really, really great deals in Granby, and a little bit of a higher inventory there now.
And then lastly, on this little tour, we'll go to Grand Lake. Grand Lake is an amazing place. It's got the lake, obviously, and Lake Granby and Shadow Mountain. Is it Shadow Mountain Lake? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yes. And tell me about the different property types in Grand Lake.
Grand Lake is a perfect little gem over there. People come from everywhere, and they say it's like going back in time, like it's a little Hallmark snow globe. And it's, it's gorgeous, historic. The housing market, there's some condos and townhomes. So you can start out, $400,000, and then there's, ranches. And as a matter of fact, the Hallmarks own a house on the lake. So there's some multi-million-dollar gorgeous properties. You can be along the Colorado River. We've got the headwaters of the Colorado River up there in the Never Summer Mountain. Feeds through all the little communities. There's small ponds, the lakes, and you're right on the Continental Divide. The Continental Divide Trail goes right through Grand Lake town. And there's something for everyone, really. You can back up to literally share a boundary with the national park in most of the town, and that's your backyard. There's ice hockey, ice skating, and the year-round activities, hiking. People like to sit on the boardwalk. Of course, the 4th of July fireworks are so renowned in the United States. They come from Disneyland, and everyone hits up Grand Lake for the 4th of July, the parades. And it's really a great time to buy right now in Grand Lake because there's, the Grand Lake Golf Course doubles as the Nordic Center in the wintertime. And so that's a big activity, snowshoeing. But right now it's a little quiet when Trail Ridge Road is closed. Little more inventory, a lot better pricing than the summer right now. And it's a great time in Grand Lake to purchase.
And a lot of people don't know that this is the back entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park. A lot of people know you go up through Estes Park and come that way, but half the year the Trail Ridge is closed. So if you want to see this side of the park, you got to go through Grand Lake, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I have to tell you a little story that's near and dear to my heart. Um, when I was considering moving here to Colorado, my father had spent a lot of time here as a young man. He had worked helping build the Granby Reservoir.
Okay.
So on our trip together, he said, we need to do this loop. Absolutely must. Okay. And he knew I'd be buying a house up here as I moved. And so we went and we took a half a day and we got on the road through Boulder,
Uh-huh.
through, all the little towns, hit up Estes Park, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm in love. And you are. It couldn't be cuter, more beautiful. And then you go through Rocky Mountain National Park, you see all the wildlife. And that's one thing I love about the national park. There's very little miles along the highway, so you get through it pretty quick, but it's huge and diverse, can get lost in it forever. So you hit up the other side, you drive down into this little bowl, and there's Grand Lake. You see the lakes,
Yep.
and it just is very special. That's the first time I saw Grand County, because you see Grand Lake, the deepest lake in Colorado. Then it's Shadow Mountain's connected by a canal. You can go in your boat, your kayaks, your paddleboard, swim through, and you've got access to that. And then, right next door is Granby Lake. So Southern California, beach girl. I love the water. I can't get enough of beautiful Colorado sunshine and water. Then we have the Colorado River. So that it is, it's a very special place. And when you drop off into Grand Lake, the other side of the park, it's a lot quieter.
Right.
You're not driving through Estes Park. You go off the beaten path to go into the village. So it's a lot less traffic. It's a completely different experience. And it's a community in there. They've got that new repertory theater that has top-notch off-Broadway acting coming in, and then bingo in the park every Friday and Saturday. It's great. The restaurants, the boutiques, the art. So it's a special place, Grand County. And, folks, it's starting to get a little more crowded there, in the summer. But it's just a great place to live, to play, to purchase a second home. Great value in Grand County.
Relative to Summit and some of those other counties, it's still the hidden gem, and that's why I call it Denver's playground. It's been that way for probably 100 years, because it was a lot easier to go up and over Berthoud than Levelland Pass in the early days before the tunnels were in. So Berthoud Pass was a place that a lot of people went, and of course the ski train you can take to get over there, which is awesome during the winter. And so a lot of people do that as well. Well, thanks for the quick tour. But before we go, this is a property that may be coming on the market soon. And so I thought it's kind of a good representation of some of the Grand Lake properties. Where's this one? Where's Columbine Lake?
Rick, Columbine Lake is a special place in Grand Lake. It's at the end of the road, and it's off the beaten track. It is surrounded by Grand Lake, the National Park, Arapahoe National Forest, and the golf course. Some of that community burned in the troublesome fire, but the community's really rallied. And so now, a few years later, there's property values are going up because there's a lot of brand new homes with these replacement properties from the fire. It has a private lake, 50 acres. It has a clubhouse with the pool and spa. It's beautiful. And then there's a horse pasture, seasonal horse pasture. Very quiet, smaller lots, but still really retains the quiet mountain feel. You might see a horse or a snowmobile, either one, kind of along the road. Very low HOA dues. It has the HOA dues provide for plowing, for trash, for a lot of things that in the wintertime as a second homeowner, you really don't want to deal with. You just want to run into the clubhouse or go play. You can walk to the golf course or, the Nordic ski area. And then the area is it's very desirable, very treed. It's beautiful, has a little creek going through it. And this particular property is a historic log home.
Okay.
It's on a pond, a very little known pond exists right there. The family that is selling actually uses it as a tubing hill and ice skating rink when they're not watching the wildlife come in and have little drinks throughout the spring and summer. You've got deer and moose. That's another beautiful thing about that area. It really abuts the national park. And so you've got all the elk and foxes and wildlife. And this house is very unique. It's historical. It's one of the first homes built in the area. It's all logs, new chinking, 2-bedroom plus a loft, and it's just
It's a great,
a really great purchase if you can want to go up to Columbine. It's borders Rocky Mountain National Park.
well, that's great. And if and when they decide to go on the market, which sounds like they may, we'll probably come up, take some new pictures. So, but we wanted to kind of give you a preview of it, and also show what some of the more historic properties look like up there in Grand Lake. Like every week, we're joined by Nancy Alexander from Smart Mortgage Services. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Rick.
Glad you could be with us. We are talking about assuming someone else's mortgages. And there are a lot of assumptions about assumable mortgages. And let's go through those. So can I assume every mortgage?
You cannot.
Okay.
Yeah. Jumbo, you can't assume. Conventional, you can't assume. Government products, you can. We'll stay away from the USDA because that's income-based. So focus on VA and FHA.
Okay, so if I have, let's just say my seller, the home I want to buy has a FHA loan, and let's just say the home they're selling it for $500,000, they owe about $400,000, and they bought their home, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, back when rates were really low. Does it make sense?
Well, it might. You've got to run the numbers because what you're having to fill in with, if you're wanting to use the FHA, what they offer you, which is the 3.5% down, and you're only coming in with 3.5% down, you're going to have a gap between where a normal mortgage would be, forget the assumability, or bring the assumability back in. Like you said, you've got $400,000 that mortgage is sitting at, and that's what you're assuming. But you're only wanting to put 3.5% down, which is about $17,000. So you've got a gap there of about $73,000 that you're going to have to fill with a second mortgage product.
Okay.
A second mortgage product. The reason, you guys, we say first lien versus second lien or first standing is because it sits in first lien position. Second mortgage is going to cost you more in interest rate because they don't sell them on the open market without going into that whole rabbit hole. So just say you're going to be at 8%. On that second mortgage. So if the first mortgage is low enough, Rick, if it's sitting at 3%, right, and then you're picking up an 8% second for this 70 some odd $1,000 difference in our scenario, would it make sense? Would you be at a blended rate of 5? Okay, it would still make sense.
Okay.
Right?
So you're making more money. I mean, you're saving money because you're not at 5 3/4 or 6 3/4, whatever the going rate is right now.
Exactly.
Are there limitations on who can assume an FHA mortgage? In other words, if my income's too high, no, as long as it's there. Same with VA, right?
It's a great question. And no, neither one of those loans are income based.
Okay.
And what's really cool about the VA assumption is that you don't have to be a veteran to assume that loan.
Okay.
So you can, the veteran could have taken the loan out, and then you and I, not being a service member, could actually assume that outstanding balance.
Which makes sense because the benefit is actually for the veteran who's the homeowner. And so they're adding an additional benefit by allowing somebody else to assume that mortgage, right?
Right. Exactly right.
So, but if I'm, let's just say, a cash buyer, or I've got a lot of cash to put down, and in my assumption that we just had there, about $500,000 sale price versus $400,000 left on it, and I put down the $100,000, I get their rate, right?
That's right. Then absolutely. If you've got the ability to put down whatever that differential is
Hmm.
between the purchase price and the outstanding balance on the loan, you're solid. Take their 3%, 3.25, 2.875, whatever that note rate is, and move forward with it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a
And
good tool.
and what if my parents want to give me that delta? Is
They
that
can do it.
allowable? That's allowable too.
Absolutely. Gifted funds are allowable, and that's all that's considered. Has to be a family member. But yes, you can accept gifted funds.
Awesome. Well, there are
Yeah.
obviously lots of numbers that need to be run if you're not going to just put down cash, and make sure that it works for you to do this. And it might make sense just to take out a new loan based on the numbers, how long the
Okay.
person's been in there, how much is left on it versus, because, the longer they've been on holding that house,
Mhm.
that they'll have paid down more,
Larger.
the appreciation's
Exactly.
going to be higher, so that number may not work. So if you're
You're right.
interested in finding out more and maybe have Nancy run some numbers for you, please reach out to her at the number on the screen. And as always, appreciate you being with us and look forward to seeing you next week. Every week, we're looking to get a little bit smarter if we're going to get into rental properties or if we're looking to rent or be a landlord. And we have Greg Batchelor from Real Property Management with us. As always, hi, Greg.
Hey, Rick, how are you?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So in the past couple weeks, we're talking about I'm looking to buy a property to turn into a rental. And we started out with location a couple weeks ago. Last week, we talked about price. And this week, we're talking about condition. So talk about that. How does that impact, whether it's going to be a profitable rental, which is, I guess, the goal?
Sure, absolutely. It's a great question. Well, as you might imagine, in the investment property world, every tenant wants their property to be completely decked out as much as possible, so long as it's at the landlord's expense. And vice versa, most landlords don't want to have to spend more than they need to provide a good, habitable place for tenants to live. And so from that particular standpoint that we have found over 18 years of doing this, there's a balance in there where you can put the right types of conditional improvements without going overboard. For instance, putting nice carpet when the carpet is 15 years old and it's worn out. That is a great investment. Not a good investment to put the very top end of the line carpet that you might put in your primary residence. You don't need to go to that level or that extreme in your investment property. By the same token, the very most expensive of paint don't have to do that. The most expensive of counters don't have to do that. It all just needs to be nice. And so when we look at condition and we look at it through the lens of a tenant or a prospective tenant who's coming to look at a property, we notice the first things that they look at in terms of condition is what do the walls look like? What do the carpets look like? What are the countertops and the cabinets and those kinds of things? Again, they don't have to be luxury, high-end, what you might put in your own primary residence, but they do have to be nice and good, solid, mid-grade to meet that conditional requirement.
And I assume condition depends on where your rental's located, right? If you're in Cherry Hills, it's got to be different than if you're in, other parts of town.
Absolutely. So if you think through just the typical price of whatever that property would be on the buy-sell market. So if you have a $650,000 investment property, pretty close to median price in the Denver area, you need nice average things in that property. If you're in Cherry Hills, to use your example, and you've got a $5 million home there, well, then you better have the Brazilian cherry hardwood floors, the matching cabinets, some of those kinds of things. And so their condition plays a different ballgame. And at every price level, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million, it's going to play different when you are talking about renting that property because there's a different type that's going to want to rent each one of those.
And of course, you're also looking to get the highest rent possible.
Absolutely.
And so having good condition makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely does.
So next week, I think what we should talk about is I'm renting. I've been in this place 5 years. It's starting to show its wear. what sort of discussion should I have with my landlord about getting some of those things we just talked about in this one ready, and what should the landlord do in order to keep that tenant, who hopefully is a good tenant, happy? How about that?
Love it. Looking forward to that conversation already. Lots to talk about on that topic.
Sounds great. And if you want to get a hold of Greg or any of his team, please reach out at the number on the screen. And as always, thanks again for joining us. One of my favorite parts of the program is to find out a little bit more about Rebecca, and we call this our 10 favorites. So we are going to start with your favorite food.
Butter chicken.
Butter chicken, okay.
Indian butter chicken, a new favorite.
Nice, okay. What's your favorite pastime?
Riding horses and spending time with my family and friends. Love that.
That's fun.
Snowboarding.
Snowboard. Oh, you have lots of pastimes. See, you can tell she lives in Grand County. Depends on the time of year what her favorite pastime is. What's your favorite type of music or band?
You know, I've been listening to some smooth jazz lately. Sit outside, relax, listen to music, blues. Grand Lake, there's a lot of country western, so you hear it enough, you start to love it.
Yeah. And what's your favorite place to visit in Colorado? And I'm going to limit her to not Grand County, because that's a good, but any other than Grand County, where else do you like to visit?
No, I'll say any waterfall, but you know, there's a very special place we're talking about the leaves changing in the fall. And if you take a little drive, I hate to even say this, but it's a dirt road that it goes out of Gunnison. You can take it either way, and you go up these passes, Ohio Pass, these Weston Pass, and they're little one-lane almost dirt roads, and they let you out in Crested Butte, and it's the most glorious thing I've seen in my life in the fall. Love it. I also like Rudeye Reservoir. I can't believe I am sharing my special spots. Rick, how'd you do?
We didn't hear anything. Okay. And what's your favorite place to visit in the world outside of Colorado?
Oh, you know, I'll send you these pictures of Kauai that came up on my feed today. But I went for a month. I took a month off. Can't believe it. And I went to Europe, and I went to Greece. I went to the Greek islands, to Athens, to Spain, to Turkey, Italy. And I couldn't believe just being around other people that from different cultures. It'd been a while. And I'm going to say right now, Madrid, Spain.
Okay.
Besides Santorini right now.
Exactly. Madrid. That's a good one.
In Athens. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm excited, Rick, about that trip. I stopped talking about it. It was all I could talk about for weeks. But, you know, Athens and Madrid really surprised me when we weren't, which part of it was a cruise for a couple of the weeks. And just people, it's wonderful. And, you know, I always run into the Coldwell Banker offices wherever I travel, and that's always fun. We have international offices. So.
And what's your favorite restaurant?
You know, right now I'm going to say North Italia in Cherry Creek. I love the sangria, love the bread. You know,
Hey, that's good. It's good stuff. What about your favorite time of the year?
I love when spring's turning into summer and you have these long sunny days with maybe you're on the water. It's 73 degrees with a cool little breeze and just enjoying the sunshine in Colorado.
Yeah, that's a great time of the year. What's your favorite smell?
Horse.
Horse. You love the smell of horses. Well, hey, it goes with the pastime. It's a good thing, because if you didn't like the way they smelled, it probably wouldn't be a good pastime. So, and what about your favorite childhood memory?
You know, I think camping with my family on the beach is right up there. That's what comes to mind. Just, you know, doing nothing, listening to the waves crash and relaxing with people that you care about. I love that. Thanks, Rick. That's special memory.
And what about the last one, your favorite part about what you do?
I love helping people. I love taking the stress from them and just carrying it and letting them know, hey, Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll tell you when to worry. And it's never going to be time. You won't hear me say that, because it's so stressful. It's so important. It's, I have the fun part of my job where we go shopping for the house, but also I'm there every step of the way because it is stressful. The paperwork on getting a loan, if you're paying cash, it's a very quick transaction. But watching people and like closing day, we had a closing yesterday with some folks, and it's not a sense of relief and a sense of euphoria and joy and just a wonderful day that you're starting a new adventure and a dream, and whatever the circumstances are, it's wonderful to help people and to be part of their life and be trusted in that.
Well, this has been awesome today, Rebecca. I'm glad you could join us and help me learn a little bit more about what's going on in Grant County and the different property types and all your expertise up there, and also getting to know you a little bit better as well. And we now know that she likes hanging out on the beach, which is awesome, and being like a good California girl, which is why she's in Grand Lake, because it's one of the best places to hang out, especially in the summer, because they don't get a lot of 100-degree days in Grant County. So that the weather's just amazing up there. I don't think we even touched on that during the summer. It's just amazing. And if you want to get a hold of Rebecca, you can reach out to her at the number there on the screen. I'm sure she'd love to tell you about whether you're looking in Grant County or even in Denver, because she sells a lot of real estate down in Denver as well. And once again, I appreciate you being on the show today. And of course, we'll see you again soon and look forward to seeing everybody next week on The Pro Show.